Welcome to another episode of Solitaryism, and I'm Robert Pitto, your host. One thing that I often hear in the realm of being alone and solitude is this, or variations of this. But if I'm alone, who's going to take care of me when I'm older? Well, I'll get back to answering that question in a little bit, but first I want to address the question itself. People are afraid that if they're older, they won't be able to do things for themselves and they're going to be all alone and something could happen to them. They could fall, maybe their mental acuity starts slipping and there's no one there to tell them. And they may do something that, is absent-minded that could be dangerous. All of those scenarios, and then, of course, people have in their heads that they need to have an old age filled with grandchildren and all these people around you and all of this stuff. Well, what is the reality out there? Okay, first of all, most people in nursing homes, they had families. They had a lot of people around them throughout their lives, but yet they're in a one-room situation, parked in front of a TV all day, having meals coming to them or having to wheel themselves to some chow hall for food. And there's a lot of loneliness and misery in older people who are in these homes alone. Well, in most cases, they were dumped there by their families. The very people that they thought who were going to take care of them when they were older put them in some home or some care facility or some other euphemistic name they put on these places. Rest home, what else? Old folks home, that's what it used to be called. But, you get thrown into a nursing home by your family. So most people in those places, they had families, they built lives for themselves and ended up there anyway. So if you don't have a family and you live your life alone, you may end up there too. But you can delay your worries about old age by doing a number of things. Keeping your mind and body sharp and active, that will prolong your life and keep you living independently much longer. And the good news about all of this is that you're probably not going to be alone. And I'd say within the next 5 to 10 years, I'm recording this in May of 2024. I hope my shows are evergreen, but in May of 2024, I'm making the obvious prediction. The way AI is going and the way robot technology is going, within 5 or 10 years, 2030, 2035, we're going to have elderly assistant robots. Now, these people will look like humans. They will be with you all the time. And you can program them to be your intellectual companion, to do all the things around the house for you, and engage in conversation with you, do whatever. And if you have feelings of loneliness, that robot will take that away from you. Of course, I advocate on this channel to not have feelings of loneliness. But to keep my mind sharp, I would be interested in getting one of these robots. Also to help me around the house, do the chores, whatever. It sounds like a good idea to me, for me to have. I'm concerned about being in my 90s or whatever and falling and not having anyone there. I'm concerned about that now. In fact, one time I injured my knee and I was incapacitated for, a couple months. And I slipped in the shower and almost hit my head on the sink. And I thought, I could have died and no one would have been there, just like some elderly person. But when you're living alone for many, many years, you make peace with the idea that something like this can happen to you at any time. It could also happen to you in a house full of kids. If you're upstairs in the bathroom, all the kids are downstairs, you slip and fall, you hit your head on the marble sink. You could be unconscious or dead in your upstairs bathroom, and your house full of kids won't even know that you're dead. So I don't think we should live our lives thinking about the morbid worst case scenario. But if you're going to think about your old age, especially if you're younger, let's say in your 20s or 30s, come on, this technology, you can see it unfolding before your eyes. By the time you get to be in your 60s or 70s, this will be taken care of big time. There will be realistic robots. And then you could order up a Britney Spears or a Brad Pitt or whoever you want, Lizzo. Now, maybe not Lizzo. She might not be able to do an adequate job of cleaning your apartment. But you know what I mean. You could probably order up a custom-made robot to your exact specifications. Kind of like how people use the dating apps now, wanting to conjure up the perfect person. Well, that's what's going to happen. I say strengthen your mind, strengthen your body, so that you can live independently for a long time. And of course, I advocate being completely happy alone. That's what this channel is about. So you're already going to be physically fit and sharp, and you're not going to have feelings of loneliness. So really, the robot will be there just to do tasks for you, and then maybe for occasional good conversation. But anyway, I say don't worry about being alone in your elder years. Hey, I'm getting close to that way myself. I'm in my mid-50s, and the older I get, the more confident I feel about being alone. And you can get there too. I always advocate that. So don't worry about your senior years and being all by yourself. You'll be fine. Thank you once again for listening and watching, and remember to be happy alone.